This is the X-T100, the newest member of Fujifilm's Retro-rific X series family. At $600 for the body only, it is also the least expensive model with a built-in electronic viewfinder. It shares some of its DNA with the more expensive X-T20 and X-T2, and like them, it's a camera for when your heart craves analog, but your brain demands digital. But while the X-T20 gave you 90% of the X-T2 for just over half the cost, the X-T100 lacks the refined performance of those models and feels a bit like a step backward for Fujifilm. If the X-T20 is the X-T2's little sibling, then the X-T100 is kind of like the awkward younger cousin who tries to keep up with the big kids but lacks the confidence to climb as high or run as fast. But the family resemblance is clear, and to the X-T100's credit, it looks and feels every bit an X-T camera. With its streamlined exterior, it has the cleanest lines of the series. No, it's not weather sealed, but it is still very well made for this class. Even the pop-up flash feels over-engineered, and the camera has a lot of direct axis control with dedicated dials for both shutter speed and aperture. It also boasts the longest battery life of any of the X-T cameras with a rating of 430 shots per charge, which is really good for Fujifilm and not bad at all for mirrorless in general. On paper, the X-T100 is more or less the lower-end X-A5 with an electronic viewfinder attached, and that's its biggest selling point. It's actually the same EVF as found on the X-T20 with 2.36 million pixels, and it's really nice for this class. The LCD monitor can also flip out a full 180 degrees, which is unique among X-T cameras. Also unique is this function dial, which performs different duties depending on the exposure mode you're in. So in program auto, shutter or aperture priority, or full manual exposure, it selects the film simulation profile. This really only affects JPEG since RAW profiles can be changed later, but it's a direct way to quickly change the look of your images without having to dive into the menu system. We've always been fans of Fujifilm's film simulations, and now they're even more accessible. Inside the X-T100 lies a different sensor and processor combination than what you'll find in higher-end X-T models. Resolution is still 24 megapixels, but this is a standard Bayer sensor rather than the more complicated X-Trans sensor found in the X-T2 and X-T20. Without getting into details, this basically means that maximum sharpness is going to be a little bit better on those other cameras than on the X-T100, but by no means should this be a deal breaker for the target customer. If you're in the market for a $600 camera body, you're not going to find image quality much better than this. Unfortunately, while we really love the images this camera produces, actually getting those images can at times be frustrating. The autofocus system is simply not up to par with that of the X-T20 and X-T2. In single shot mode with a manually selected focus point, it's not terrible, but it is definitely slower. And in continuous autofocus, well, it's really quite bad. And while the burst rate is a respectable 6 frames per second, you'll be lucky to get a full second of continuous shooting at that speed when shooting RAW. Obviously JPEGs will fare better, but this is not a high-speed camera and it will require some patience on your part. The lackluster autofocus performance also negatively affects video, although we have to say that face tracking is actually pretty accurate, even if the focus itself isn't always keeping up. But the video mode isn't very noteworthy to begin with. Technically, the camera can shoot 4K, but only at 15 frames per second, which looks more like stop-motion animation than real-time video. You could use it to extract still frames, but that just doesn't seem all that useful. For all intents and purposes, this is a 1080p camera. On the plus side, it does have a microphone jack, but it's the non-standard 2.5mm size rather than the standard 3.5mm, so you will need an adapter to use most microphones with it. In many ways then, the X-T100 feels like a throwback to first-generation X-series cameras, which had slower autofocus and unremarkable video modes. But the issue here is that the entry-level or casual photographer who's shopping in this price range is likely someone who wants to pick up a camera and have it just work without having to put much thought into it. If that's you, this probably isn't the camera for you. However, if you don't need to shoot fast action and you enjoy using manual controls or are eager to learn, the X-T100 is a great place to start and makes for a low-cost entry point into the Fujifilm X series and the system's excellent lenses. It's not the easiest camera to use in this class, but it does offer a unique experience with the potential to produce some really nice results. Hey, thanks for watching this video. For more on the XT100, you can find our full review at digitaltrends.com, or let us know what you think down in the comments. And as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos from Digital Trends.